Let's talk about love, baby. I'm not here to sing to you or do any of that. I'll leave that stuff to my wife because she does it much better than what I do it. Hey, we've been talking about Jesus being the center of our lives and being in our lives. And I'm already seeing that a lot of us that we're actually putting some of these things into action in our life, it's making a very big difference. Like I was talking about last week, if you didn't check out last week's, you need to go back and listen to that one so that this one will make sense, because we have a series that we're doing right now. I'm putting Jesus in the center of our life, putting him in our life. So this week we're going to be talking about how do I put Jesus in the center of my relationships. That right there, that word relationship has so many different meanings. For some people it means love, for some people it means run, for some people it means I'm never trying that again. But when it comes down to it, relationships are here. And no matter if you want to have relationships, good or bad, you're going to have relationships with people, however it is. You could even have a relationship with your mailman that's bringing mail to your house every single day. It's so simple. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for bringing the mail. You're already establishing a relationship that when you see each other, you're building a relationship. Everything's a relationship. Like a lot of you saw in the Remo video, and you can find the Remo video that is so cute. You can find the Remo video right there in like the profile. And also you could also find it right here on YouTube, and you could just click on it later. But finish watching this first. We need to understand that every day we are pushing people away or drawing them closer to us. We could even change that, closer to us. But what about we're pushing people away or bringing people in to Jesus? When I look at Remo, I know that I'm building like a relationship with him. He has to trust me. When we're walking the dog, when I stop, he'll stop. And a lot of times if I stop for a good amount of time, he'll sit down because there's already been a relationship that we have been building. Okay? So we need to have a vision for every relationship. If you're dating someone, if you're married with someone, maybe you have children and maybe the marriage didn't work out, or maybe you never got married and you had kids. You have to have a relationship with whatever God has entrusted in your hands. If God placed amazing people in your life, then that means that you need to be able to build relationships with those people. We need to have a vision. I need to have a vision for my wife and I. I need to have a vision for my children. With my children, my youngest is 7 years old. Our oldest is 16 years old. And we talk like serious. At their ages, we talk about life. We talk about vision. We talk about having authority in Jesus Christ. We talk about whatever profession we do, we need to make sure that it's going to bring glory unto God. How are we going to build the name of Jesus Christ on this earth with our actions? Because we have to have a heavenly perspective in all of our relationships. In everything that we're doing, we need to have a heavenly perspective. What do I mean when I say a heavenly perspective? Okay, will this bring honor to God, or will this only bring honor to me? Will this only bring joy to my life, or will this also bring joy to other people's life? If you want to evaluate if you're a selfish person, start asking yourself, okay, the decisions that I make, do they only benefit me? You could also ask yourself, the decisions that I make in my life, do they benefit God? It's very important that we start evaluating in our life and we start getting perspective, a heavenly perspective on the decisions that we're making. I can say that I love my brother, but if I don't show him love, then I'm only going halfway on it. We need to be able to invest in relationships. If I want Jesus to be in the center of my relationships, I need to start learning how to honor God with how I deal with my relationships. Prime example, if I say that I have a friend, I'm not going to gossip about that friend. If I say that I have relationships in my life, I'm not going to be one person in front of them and a different person when they're not around. I know these weeks I'm really hitting hard on certain areas and habits that we even have, but I'm not going to really go into habits. In a couple weeks, I'm going to go into habits. But the truth is this, we have to be sure that we're giving an example of the Jesus that lives within us. So I look at Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18. It brings some clarity here. Where there is no revelation, the people cast out restraint. But happy is he who keeps the law. Even in the life that we're living in a life that there are laws that are around us. We have to honor those laws. When I got married with Cynthia, my wife that I love with all of my heart, I made a commitment by law that she is my wife till death do us part. I pray for long life over us because I'll be honest with you, I love being married. But it was a decision that we both made in front of God and in front of our government that we're willing to love each other with all of our heart. It's a relationship. It's a covenant that we made. We see in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25, husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. God gave himself for the church. When I made a decision to love Cynthia with all of my heart, or maybe you have someone that you love in your life, or maybe you have a relationship with a family member or your neighbor, whatever it is, you're making a decision that you're willing to be faithful. Growing up, sometimes we're like, I'm with you till the end, or, I got your back. That's one thing that we used to say all the time. I got your back. If it goes down, I'm gonna be right there with you. I got your back. I got your back. But when trouble would come, you wanted to be sure that someone was with you and that they didn't run in the first sign of trouble. You really get to know who your friends are when trouble comes around. You really get to know who your friends are when you lose it all. You really know who your friends are when there's a difficult time. That's when you truly find out what kind of friendships you have. I know that I have to honor my wife because that's a commitment that I said. I have a relationship with her. I can't say that I love my wife and that I'm with another woman sleeping around and doing things that I'm not, that are illegal, that are unethical, immoral, that it just breaks every single rule. I can't say that I love her and I'm not honoring her. I can't say that I love my parents, but then I don't honor my parents. The word says, honor your father and your mother so that your days may be greater, so that your days may be longer, so that you live a long life. That's why we have to honor. It doesn't say if your parents are sane, you have to honor them. Look it, we all have different things that we want to change. We all have had a moment that we're like, what are they talking about? And maybe your parents are crazy. Maybe you got friends that are crazy. But the reality is when you have a relationship, you're willing to love that person through that. As long as they're not trying to bring destruction into your life and destroy you or mess you up. Okay? I'm talking like when someone is like really in a relationship and maybe there's certain things in their life that maybe you don't understand or that God is still working them. Because look at this. All of us are a work in progress. In our relationships, in our marriage, we are a work in progress. Raising my children daily, I'm asking God to give me wisdom. God, give me wisdom in raising my children in the right way, that I may be compassionate, that I may be understanding, that I may listen when I need to listen. Even in friendships that I have, I need to ask God to give me wisdom to not do something wrong or just thinking about myself, because it's very easy to get selfish of like, what about my feelings? But sometimes it's not about your feelings. Sometimes it's just saying, you know what? I'm going to just humble myself because I'm more interested in the relationship than anything else. For every relationship that we have to have vision. If you're married, you have to have vision for that marriage. If you have children, you have to have vision for your children. I have a list that I did on things that I want my children to learn. One of them is that all my children are learning an instrument. That's a vision that I have because I want to prepare them for the future, learning Spanish. I have to have a vision for our church because if you don't have vision, everything will fall apart. Everything will fall apart. Romans chapter 12, verse 10 says, be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love, in honor giving preference to one another. Don't love people just because of what you can get out of them. And I know it sometimes hurt when someone gets close to you and it's just because they want something from you. I've experienced it. I've had people that have gotten close to me just because of my father, because of my sister, Joanne, because she's a singer and all these things, or she knows this person or knows that person, or my father because of this or that. I had girls that I dated that were more interested in my parents than they were in me. And I was just like, yeah, this is not going to work out because I want someone to love me for who I am, not because they could be close to my parents and they could be part of how we do life. It's very easy to get caught up in what we want, because if you only have a relationship because of what you can get out of that person, and there's never a point of what I can give to that person, then it's not truly a relationship. It's a take relationship instead of you being able to invest in your relationships. I'll leave you with this. If we learn how to put Jesus in the center of our life, we will learn how to honor the relationships that are in our life. If we learn how to put Jesus in the center of our life and we have a heavenly perspective and we just say, God, I want you to use me to be a blessing, and I want to be the best friend that this person has ever experienced, or I want to be the best husband that I can possibly be by the grace of God. When you start doing that, you're telling God, God, I want to honor you with the decisions and with the conversations that I'm having. If you have a friend in your life, talking about them behind their back, that's not being a good friend. Trying to destroy them or divide their marriage or try to slip into their marriage, yes, that is wrong. That is sin. That's just messed up. When we have a relationship, we're willing to give ourselves to that person and be a blessing in that person and lift that person up so that they become better. When I have a friend, I want to be able to grow with that friend. I pray that this has been a blessing in your life, and share this with someone. I know we're getting into some topics on habits and how we do life and how we make decisions in our life, but it is so important in this season. Let's build our relationships and let's allow Jesus to be the center of our life. Share this and be a part of this. Put comments on there because we want to know what you think about this video. I love you. You'll be blessed.